This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net. And today I have on a gentleman by the name of Eric McDonald. And his name may not personally mean anything to you, although he may look and sound like your next door neighbor. However, he is part of a band. So, Eric, tell us a little bit about who you are, who the band is, and who those people are wandering in the background.
Yeah, sure. Hey, it's good to be here. Yeah, my name.
We lost your sound again. Um,
Been touring full time ever since, playing a lot of Scottish and Cape Breton and Irish music, and that's what I'm doing on this tour that we're on right now. I'm playing with my band Cantrip, which is a Scottish trio. Originally formed in Edinburgh about 20 years ago, and I came in about 10 years ago when we sort of hopped to the other side of the pond and sort of split the difference between Edinburgh and Vermont in New England, which is where we're touring right now. So there's three members of the band, myself, Dan Houghton, and John Buse. And on this tour, unfortunately, John, who stays in Edinburgh, his visa didn't quite come through. So we have the amazing Alistair White, who's an incredible fiddler, originally from the Isle of Lewis, now based in New York, who's with us on this tour.
so, first question I have to ask, we know that the Northeast is getting hit pretty bad with storms. Is that affecting you and your travel or anything like that?
So far, we've been safe. I have a couple of friends who got evacuated, but nobody that I know who's been affected in a devastating way, although I know many people have been. So we're crossing our fingers that everything goes well and that, things stay safe and people can enjoy some live music. So
All right.
We love storms and we are always prepared for them.
You are.
Year.
We're ready.
Oh, we're sorted.
This is Dan Houghton, who plays pipes in the band.
Hello.
So, how long has this band been together?
About 20 years.
Wow.
In this
Okay.
It's actually even more than that.
Oh, yeah.
We started as a group playing a session up at the Ensign Ewart pub in Edinburgh back in either 98 or 99. So it's been around for a wee bit.
You've been around for a minute. Absolutely.
The current iteration is about 10 years. When you guys started, I would have been 11.
Yeah. Which was awkward for international travel.
Indeed.
It must be.
Yes.
My mom had to bring me every time.
I'm sure mom enjoyed that, right? So, how did you all meet then? Because obviously, besides age differences, there's geographical differences as well.
Well, I connected with John Buse and our then guitar and bouzouki player, Cammy Robson. Again, I'd been invited to play a session on basically the day that I picked up my border pipes from Hamish Moore's shop up in Burnham. And I had just met John through a mutual friend, which was slightly bizarre, and I won't talk about it live on radio. There might still be some legal issues involved there. But I met Cammy, likewise in a similar situation, kind of invited them up, and then another former member of the band who must remain nameless for similar reasons. Got us together, wanted to start a band, and that we also had another friend, Gavin Marwick, in for a while, and a lot of the focus was really on the double fiddle thing, and pipes and guitar were just sort of like backing for the fiddle. Yeah, and then God, what happened then?
You guys started a band?
We did, yeah. We started a band and did a bunch of things. Did a bunch of festivals like Lorient and Edinburgh Fiddle Festival and Orkney and stuff like that. And it was pretty wild and great fun.
But we met in
We
Boston.
met, yeah. So that's kind of the origins of the
Sure.
situation. No, we met in Burlington.
Oh, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Okay.
The last Champlain Folk Festival, as it was then. He was playing with one band, I was playing with another, and there were some crossovers, and we got chatting at the pub, and it was great. And had Irene just hit?
No, it was the next year. The next year
That's right,
was the year that Hurricane Irene hit Vermont. Actually, we were just talking about storms. That was a very memorable one. And these guys were playing at the New World Festival, which we're also playing on this tour. And their guitarist that they were working with at the time was stranded in the Catskills. So Dan called me up 18 hours before the festival. And so I showed up and sat in an office with them for about an hour and a half to learn the first set. We did the set, and then I sat in an office with them for about an hour and a half to learn the second set. We played the second set, and I guess now here we are 10 years later. So.
That is terrific. And that also means that you obviously all must be talented to spend a short period of time together to make something work.
Well, we had fun.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Which counts for a great deal.
Indeed.
And when you're having fun, your audience has fun. Okay. And that's one of the things that I've noticed over the years, that I might be, listening to somebody in live concert, and you sort of hear that little mistake, but it's like, look how much fun they're having. It doesn't make any difference. In fact, that little mistake may become part of the next routine.
Sure.
And I think that is the amazing part of live performances, that if you don't go to a live performance, you have no idea of how things, evolve. So, but you talk a lot about festivals, and there's a lot of festivals on the East Coast, a lot on the West Coast, but Midwest, at least in my region of Ohio, there aren't too many festivals. So is there a history behind why the East Coast and West Coast have so many?
I think that may have as much to do with just the people that we have in this band have connected with. I mean, years ago, I played at the Dublin Irish Festival in Dublin, Ohio, but that was I was playing with a band called Salsa Celtica. We also on that tour played at the Milwaukee Festival, Milwaukee Irish Festival. There's the one in St. Paul.
It's Lotus Festival in Bloomington as well.
Aye.
Yeah, I
so
think
they are around. We just in this particular configuration haven't made it out to any of them yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I wouldn't be able to tell you why, if there's sort of a higher number of festivals on the East Coast or the West Coast, but I could speculate too that those are immigration hubs. So, a lot of people, who brought this music over would find themselves in places like Chicago, Boston, and then eventually that moved out to the West Coast as well.
Right.
So that could have been, a cultural driving force for some of these festivals.
So you are going to be performing at one of my favorite places. Cafe Lena has my heart, and it has had my heart for a long time. So tell me a little bit about your connection with Cafe Lena.
So we've played there twice before, years back. It's been many years now, 6 years, I think, something like that.
At least.
So we can't wait to get back, first of all. And I found out about the place just through the reputation. I grew up in the aforementioned Boston. And one of the places that I kind of grew up at, that I frequented all the time, was Club Passim, which is a venue of very similar significance, very similar background. And they kind of get uttered in the same breath often in the conversation. So that was how I first found out about Cafe Lena. So when it came time to come to the region, that was one of the first places I looked to, and it's never disappointed. Now I've played there with a number of other bands, and the staff is fantastic. I think the last time I was there was a whole new batch of people, and they were sort of carrying forward the traditions of Cafe Lena with gusto and excitement, and it just felt good. It feels really good to walk into a place where everybody's like, hey, let's make some real good music happen.
The interesting part about it is so many of the people that are working there are volunteers.
Yeah.
And the volunteers show up no matter what. They're there, they have smiles on their faces, and they just enjoy being at the location. So you said it's been about 6 years, so you haven't been there since the renovation?
uh,
Probably not.
I've been in the building since the renovation.
Okay.
But we haven't played there since then. No.
So a lot of great things are happening there, especially live stream. So for those of you who are listening to this podcast, if you go to newclevelandradio.net, we have some information about the live streams at Cafe Lena. A great way for you to get them and not miss out, because I, for one, can't get up there to see as many of the groups as I would like to. And sometimes the only way I can do that is to stream them.
Right. Which is a wonderful new part of the musical landscape that people can take advantage of.
And a lot of you took advantage of it during this past year with the pandemic. So did you guys do live stream shows from wherever you were hunkering down?
A little bit.
Yeah, we put together some stuff.
We were actually in 3 different places. So I stay in Canada, Dan's in Vermont, and John's in Scotland. So we were in 3 different countries. So we couldn't get together. This is the first time we've gotten together since March 2020.
So different now to the way I remember them. Insane.
But what we did do is we did some, the socially distant recordings that you probably saw a lot of other bands and musicians doing. So we did a number of those and put together some recordings and some virtual concerts that were interesting. A good experience. Definitely happy to be back with the band.
Yeah.
We also did like a weekly video meetup that we would stream to the public. So, if you want to hear us kind of being quote ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's see you next Tuesday is on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook.
I love that. So you're now back on the road. Do you think things are going to stay open?
Oh, it's very hard to say.
Okay.
Yeah, very hard to say. So far, there's some wood around here. Everything on this tour is staying solid. No cancellations. People are, I think, planning to come out. I think people feel safe. We'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, sort of really predicting that kind of thing falls into the realm of chaos theory. Unfortunately, those who've studied it will know that chaos likes to defy prediction.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we are certainly hoping that things can stay open. People will be safe, and you can continue to perform your music, create more music. So before I end this, I just want to ask, why folk music?
It's in the blood.
Yeah. I think it was a
That's
matter
a
of timing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the blood, it's in the consciousness, and it's just kind of what decided to come out. It's got to grow up in that context, and
I remember a class I took once that it was a music therapy class, and it was kind of a psychology class, and one of the things they talked about is the music that moves people throughout their lives. There's like a critical period of time, generally a range where like whatever music you were exposed to and moved by in that time is what you're going to be moved by for the rest of your life. And so I think part of that is early on, and then also in developmental years, close to adulthood. And so for both of us, I think we were sort of exposed to the music then, and then there's also such a great current with this music. There's so much history, and there's such an amount of it's very easy to kind of just build your life around it if you choose.
Yeah.
And
well, that, and I mean,
that's kind of what we did.
Having spent so much bloody time and money learning to play the bagpipes,
Yeah.
it's about time to start getting back from it rather than
and
the money and energy.
For me, I played power chords in a high school band, but there was another guitarist who could play faster solos, so I switched to acoustic music.
So things just evolved just because, is what you're saying.
To an extent, yeah. And then, obviously there's a point where it's very much a choice, but at that point, I think all of us were
kicking a push here and there.
We were lifers at that point. So,
yeah.
So when you sit down to create your music, is it something that, because I know there's some musicians that sit down every single day for a couple of hours and they try to bang things out. And there are others who say, nope, when the thought comes to me, that's when I sit down and I put it together. So how does it work for the two of you?
We're sort of more in the latter camp, I think.
I guess sometimes we work well under pressure.
Yeah.
Sometimes if there's a deadline, then we say, okay, it's time to do it.
Especially when we've passed the deadline.
Yeah. The thing with us is that the band itself is built as much around us just being together and hanging out, and, getting to know each other and spending the time, having the crack, as they say, as it is about the, I think the music is the central force that brings us all together in that way. And so we kind of very much take the organic process there. But definitely, I think we are musicians who, when there's a project to be done, like if we're making an album or something like that happens, somebody brings a tune to the group and then it's time to sit down and work on it. So I don't think that we don't structure that very much. We sort of let it come and go, but there is a very focused creative process that we can get to. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So I'm staring at your t-shirt and I'm assuming that is an angel.
Actually, it's an owl.
Oh, it's an owl. Oh, okay. With a turntable and vinyl.
Yes.
So do you have any of your music in vinyl?
Not quite yet on vinyl discs, but there's some garments hanging up in the closet of that material that have some bits of stuff rolled on it. We actually had talked about getting some vinyl done on the next release.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great segue, Dan. We should mention our new album.
Yes, absolutely.
For just 19.
So we have a new album. We have a GoFundMe going right now to try and get it over the hump. We recorded it in November of 2019 and had a whole plan to put it out in the spring of 2020, and here we are. So now we feel like it's the time. So we're gonna probably try and do that album on vinyl, but it really depends on whether or not you pre-order it on GoFundMe. So,
well, how do we get to the GoFundMe page?
It's a great question.
That's a very good question.
You can go to our website. It's cantrip-music.com. You can also we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can find us on those as well.
Well, we're going to make sure that we put that all into the show notes. I say this to all our listeners for every interview that we do. When you want to listen to their music, please pay for the streaming services or go out and purchase the music directly. Bands do not make money just standing up on a stage and performing. There's a lot more that goes into it. And even though you may only get pennies for every time we listen to something, those pennies will add up. So I know you guys had a really tough year like everybody else this past year, not being able to perform, and that hit the income stream. And we certainly want our listeners to help out the best way that they can.
Thank you for that.
All right, thank you very much.
So what night are you going to be at Cafe Lena?
It's going to be Thursday, the 9th of September.
So that's next week.
That's
So
right.
there's no excuse for any of you listening not to jump on and do a live stream. Or if you are in Saratoga Springs, New York, purchase a ticket and go to Cafe Lena, and you will not be disappointed. I want to thank you for joining us, and tell your other bandmate, I'm sorry that we didn't get to meet. Not sure.
I think he's in the shower. So.
Oh, well, that's a good thing that we're not meeting him right now. We don't want to censor anything.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Have a great day and stay in touch with us. Okay.
Likewise. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Bye bye
cheers.
now.